The lights in the grand hall shone like 1,000 tiny stars. Music filled the air, laughter bounced from every corner, and the smell of rich food made the room feel alive. This was a party only the wealthy could attend, and tonight, Armin, one of the richest men in the city, walked among them, smiling and shaking hands. His fiancée, Nadia, walked beside him, flawless in a red dress that sparkled with every movement. She looked perfect, but Sarah, a poor girl working as a server, noticed something that no one else did. Sarah moved quietly among the guests, carrying a tray of drinks. Her small, dark eyes were sharp and alert. She had learned to notice little details in her life. Every smile, every glance, every movement could mean something important. Tonight, it felt like something terrible was about to happen. She couldn't explain why, only that a danger hovered over Armin, and she had to do something. As Armin laughed at a joke, Nadia slipped away to refill his glass. The wine glinted under the lights, looking harmless, inviting, almost magical. Nadia returned, holding it carefully in her hand. "Here, darling," she said with a soft smile. "A toast to us." Sarah froze. Something about Nadia's smile, her careful movements, and the way she held the glass made Sarah's heart beat faster. She had seen people hide evil behind perfect smiles before, in her own life. And somehow, tonight, she knew she could not stay silent. "Stop! Don't drink that!" Sarah shouted, her voice cutting through the music and laughter. Everyone turned. Glasses clinked, conversations stopped mid-sentence, and all eyes fell on the small server who dared to speak out. Armin paused, looking down at the glass in his hand. His brow furrowed, confused. "What? What are you saying?" Sarah took a deep breath, steadying herself. "That drink, it's not safe. You should not drink it." Nadia's perfect smile wavered for a second. She tried to recover, but Armin had already frozen, unsure of what to believe. Sarah knew she had only seconds to act. She moved closer, her voice firmer now. "I know what's happening. Don't let her fool you. Just put the glass down." Gasps filled the room. Some people laughed nervously, thinking it was a joke. Others looked at Nadia, who quickly covered her shock with elegance. But Sarah did not step back. Her eyes met Armin's, and she saw a flicker of trust there. A flicker that could save his life. Armin slowly set the glass on the table. His hands shook slightly, his eyes searching Sarah's face. Why are you saying this?" he asked. Sarah swallowed hard. I just saw something. Something is wrong. Please, don't drink it." Nadia stepped forward, her voice soft and calm, trying to cover her panic. "Armin, don't listen to her. She's just a server. She doesn't know what she's talking about." But Armin hesitated. There was something in Sarah's eyes, a certainty, a warning, a truth that could not be faked. He looked at the glass, then at Nadia. For the first time, he wondered if the woman he trusted so much could actually harm him. Sarah knew this moment was critical. She had always been small, poor, and unnoticed, but tonight, she could make a difference. She took a step closer, holding her tray firmly, but her hands were steady. "Please," she said, "just trust me for a moment. Don't drink it. Watch her carefully." A silence fell over the hall. Guests leaned in, curious. Armin's heart pounded. He did not want to believe that Nadia could betray him, but something inside told him to listen to Sarah. He slowly moved away from the table, setting the glass down carefully, his eyes never leaving Nadia. Nadia's smile returned, colder this time. She gave a small nod, hiding her anger. But Sarah had already seen enough. Something dangerous was behind that calm, perfect face, and she had to stay close to make sure Armin stayed safe. "Thank you," Armin whispered, barely audible, almost to himself. I think you saved me." Sarah smiled faintly, her heart still racing. "I just want you to be safe," she said. The party continued, but now the air was different. The music felt sharp, conversations quieter, and every glance between Armin and Nadia was tense. Sarah moved through the room, careful to stay near Armin, always watching, always alert. She had no idea how much danger he was in, only that she could not leave him alone. As the night went on, Sarah noticed small things: Nadia's hand slightly trembling, her eyes darting to secret messages on her phone, the way she kept glancing at Armin's glass. Each small clue built a story Sarah could feel in her bones. Nadia was not the woman she pretended to be. Something terrible was planned, and Sarah had to stop it. For Armin, the shock of the warning still lingered. He could not forget the small girl who had shouted at the top of her lungs in front of all the guests. And deep down, he wondered, why her? Why would a poor server risk everything to save him? Sarah did not have answers, only instincts. And tonight, those instincts were stronger than fear. She had saved him once, and now she would do whatever it took to protect him from the betrayal that loomed closer than anyone realized. The night continued, but the tension remained. Behind the glittering lights and laughter, danger was still near. And Sarah, small and unnoticed by most, was the only one who could stop it. The morning after the party, the city seemed calm and quiet. But for Sarah, calm was only on the surface. Her mind raced as she thought about the events of last night. Armin had listened to her warning, and she had saved him from the poisoned drink. But she knew this was only the beginning. Nadia's betrayal was not a simple mistake, it was planned, and she would not stop so easily. Sarah returned to the grand mansion where Armin lived. Though she was just a server, she had earned permission to deliver breakfast. She moved quietly through the hallways, observing every detail. The chandeliers sparkled in the morning sunlight, but her eyes were drawn to the people around her: the staff, the guards, the assistants. Each of them seemed to be a part of the machine that made the mansion run smoothly, unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface. Armin was in his study, reviewing documents and emails. He looked different in the morning light, less confident, more thoughtful. Last night's events had shaken him. He had trusted Nadia completely, and for the first time, he wondered if his trust had been misplaced. Sarah entered quietly, carrying the tray with careful hands. "Good morning, sir," she said softly. "Breakfast is ready." Armin looked up, his eyes meeting hers. There was gratitude there, but also hesitation. "Sarah, last night," he began, his voice low, "I can't stop thinking about what you said." "How did you know?" Sarah paused, unsure of how much to reveal. I just noticed things, sir. Small things. People sometimes hide their true selves behind smiles. And last night, I saw something dangerous in hers." Armin nodded slowly, digesting her words. He wanted to trust Nadia, but Sarah's calm certainty had shaken him. I need to know the truth," he said quietly. Sarah's eyes sharpened. She had been waiting for this moment. "Sir, I think Nadia is planning something against you. Last night was not a mistake. That drink, it was meant to harm you." Armin's hand shook as he reached for his coffee. He stared at Sarah, trying to believe her. "But, she's my fiancée. She would never." Sarah interrupted gently, her voice firm. "I know it's hard to believe. But sometimes people hide their intentions behind perfect smiles. I can help you see the truth, if you let me." For the first time, Armin realized that his world was not as perfect as it seemed. He had lived in luxury, surrounded by people who told him what he wanted to hear. Sarah, a girl from the streets, who had worked hard for every small thing in her life, was the only one showing him reality. Over the next few days, Sarah stayed close, observing Nadia's every move. Nadia seemed calm, smiling and elegant as ever, but Sarah noticed small cracks in her behavior. She saw how Nadia's eyes flickered nervously at certain messages on her phone, how she whispered to her assistant in private, and how she tried to keep Armin away from Sarah whenever she could. One afternoon, while delivering tea to Armin, Sarah whispered, "Sir, I saw her messaging someone last night. It was secret, and she looked worried that I might see. I think she's planning something again." Armin's brow furrowed. "Messaging who? What is she planning?" Sarah shook her head. "I don't know yet. But I will find out. You need to stay alert, sir. Don't trust her completely, no matter how perfect she seems." Armin felt a cold shiver run down his spine. The woman he thought he knew perfectly, his fiancée, could be dangerous. And the girl who was poor, unnoticed, and brave, was the only one who could guide him. That evening, a private dinner was planned in the mansion. Nadia appeared radiant, her smile shining in the dim candlelight. Armin sat across from her, uneasy. He remembered Sarah's warning and tried to watch Nadia carefully, though it felt unnatural. He noticed the subtle ways she manipulated conversation, how she guided him toward compliments for her, and how her hand lingered near a wineglass. Sarah was nearby, cleaning a corner of the dining room, but her eyes never left Nadia. She noticed the small things, the tremor in Nadia's fingers, the way her smile did not reach her eyes, the fleeting look of irritation when Armin spoke to Sarah. Every detail told Sarah a story, and she could feel the danger building. After dinner, as the guests left, Sarah approached Armin quietly. "Sir, I've noticed more signs. She's hiding something. We need to be careful. Don't drink anything she offers, and watch her messages. She is clever, but she makes small mistakes. I can help you see them." Armin took a deep breath. He had never trusted anyone like this before. But Sarah had proven herself. She had saved his life once, maybe she could protect him from the betrayal that was still unfolding. The next day, Sarah found herself alone in the mansion's library, searching through small details. She noticed receipts that didn't add up, appointments that were unaccounted for, and messages that disappeared from Nadia's phone too quickly. Each clue built a picture in Sarah's mind, a picture of betrayal, of danger, of secrets hidden behind perfect smiles. Armin, unaware of the full extent of Nadia's plans, was starting to notice changes too. He felt nervous around her, his trust shaken, his heart heavy with doubt. Yet, he also felt a strange sense of hope. Sarah, with her honesty and bravery, was guiding him through a darkness he had never imagined existed in his luxurious life. As the days passed, Sarah became more confident. She approached Armin one morning, holding a small folder of proof she had quietly collected. "Sir, I think it's time you see this. Nadia is not what she seems. Look carefully, and you will understand. I cannot stop her alone, but together, we can." Armin opened the folder slowly, his eyes widening as he read through the documents, notes, and photographs. Each piece of evidence was a small crack in Nadia's carefully constructed mask. His heart pounded as the truth settled in. Finally, he looked up at Sarah, gratitude and disbelief mixing in his eyes. You've seen the truth all along. I didn't realize. I didn't know how blind I was." Sarah smiled faintly, her voice calm but firm. "It's okay, sir. Now you see. But we have to act carefully. She won't stop, and she will try to fool you again. We have to be ready." Armin nodded, determination growing. For the first time, he felt like he had a real partner, not a fiancée hiding her intentions, but a girl who had nothing to gain and everything to risk to protect him. And Sarah, though small and unnoticed by most, felt a sense of purpose. She had saved him once, and now, she would not let him fall into the trap Nadia had set. The mansion, the luxury, the sparkling lights, all of it felt like a stage where danger and betrayal played out. And Sarah, brave and sharp, was ready to guide Armin through it all. But deep in the shadows, Nadia's plans were moving forward. She had been seen, yes, but she was not defeated. And Sarah knew this. The battle for Armin's trust, safety, and life had only just begun. The mansion felt quieter than usual that afternoon. Even the guards and staff seemed to move more cautiously, as if sensing a tension in the air they could not name. Sarah walked through the hallways, her sharp eyes scanning every corner. She had noticed subtle changes in Nadia's behavior over the past few days, furtive glances, hurried whispers, and secretive messages, but now it felt like the danger had grown closer, more urgent. Armin sat in his study, reviewing contracts, but his mind wandered. He could not stop thinking about Nadia. The woman he had trusted completely was now a puzzle he did not know how to solve. Every smile, every gesture, every word she spoke made him question what he had once believed. And Sarah, small, honest, brave, had become his guide through this confusing maze. "Sir," Sarah said softly as she entered, carrying a tray of tea. "I think she's planning something again." Armin looked up, his eyes tense. Again? How can you be sure? Sarah's gaze did not waver. I can feel it. I noticed her messages last night, they were hurried, secretive. She wanted to keep them hidden from me, and from you. She's clever, but she makes mistakes. I'll show you soon. Armin took a deep breath, the weight of realization pressing down on him. I don't know if I can trust anyone anymore, he admitted, his voice low. Not even her. Sarah nodded, understanding. Trust has to be earned, sir. And right now, the only trust you should have is in truth and proof. I will help you see it. But you must stay alert. She will test you. The evening arrived, and the mansion glowed under the soft light of chandeliers. Nadia entered the room, radiant as ever, greeting Armin with a perfect smile. Sarah watched from across the room, noticing the tension in Nadia's posture, the way her eyes darted around as if she expected someone to see through her mask. Dinner began, and Nadia subtly tried to isolate Armin. She engaged him in conversation, keeping him focused on her, guiding his attention away from the small clues Sarah had been gathering. Her laughter was melodic, her words smooth, but Sarah noticed the slight tremor in her hand when she picked up the wine glass. Sarah moved quietly, serving the guests, but her eyes never left Nadia. Every gesture, every glance, every whisper was a piece of a puzzle she was determined to solve. She noticed how Nadia avoided looking at her directly, how her eyes flickered toward hidden messages on her phone. Each small movement screamed warning. Suddenly, Nadia leaned closer to Armin, her voice soft and alluring. Drink this, she said, offering him a glass of wine. Her smile was perfect, but her eyes betrayed her true intention. Sarah's heart raced. She moved swiftly, but quietly, placing herself between Armin and the glass. Sir, don't, she said firmly. Please, don't drink it. Watch her. Armin froze. His hand hovered over the glass. Last time, Sarah had saved him from danger. Could he trust her again? He glanced at her, seeing nothing but determination in her eyes. Slowly, he set the glass down, his trust in Sarah outweighing his disbelief in Nadia. Nadia's smile faltered for a brief moment before returning to perfection. She excused herself gracefully, leaving the room with the charm of someone unbothered, but Sarah could feel the anger simmering beneath her calm exterior. After the dinner, Sarah approached Armin quietly. Sir, she tried again. But I saw her clearly this time. She's planning more. We can't wait. Armin nodded, his mind racing. I need to understand everything. Show me. Sarah led him to a quiet corner of the mansion where she had been collecting evidence, hidden notes, photographs, and receipts that did not add up. Each piece told a story: secret meetings, unexplained expenses, messages deleted too quickly to track. Slowly, the picture became clear. Nadia's plan was not a single act, it was a sequence of careful manipulations designed to isolate, confuse, and harm Armin. As Armin absorbed the truth, a cold shiver ran down his spine. The woman he had loved, the woman he had trusted with everything, had been hiding this from him all along. And the girl who had no wealth, no influence, but sharp instincts and courage, had uncovered it all. Why are you helping me? Armin asked, his voice barely a whisper. Sarah looked him in the eyes, calm and unwavering. Because it's the right thing to do, sir. I don't need anything from you. But you need to be safe. And I can't let her succeed. The next few days were tense. Armin stayed alert, keeping his distance from Nadia while observing her closely. Sarah continued her careful watch, noting every movement, every message, every plan. It felt like walking through a minefield, one wrong step, one missed detail, and the danger could strike. One afternoon, Armin noticed Nadia trying to corner Sarah alone in the hallway. The look on her face was sharp, almost dangerous, as if she wanted to intimidate the small girl who had dared to challenge her. But Sarah did not falter. She stood her ground, eyes meeting Nadia's with quiet confidence. Armin arrived just in time. Is everything okay here? He asked, his voice steady but firm. Nadia's smile returned, but it was forced. Yes, of course, she said, her tone smooth. I was just asking Sarah something about the schedule. Armin nodded slowly, but inside, he knew. Nadia was clever, but she had underestimated Sarah. The small, brave girl was not intimidated by her beauty, her wealth, or her charm. And that was why she had saved him once and why she would continue to protect him. That night, Sarah reviewed her notes again. Every detail mattered. Every small clue could mean the difference between safety and disaster. She felt the tension building, knowing that Nadia's next move could come at any time. And she also knew that Armin had to see the truth fully before it was too late. The mansion, with its grand halls and sparkling lights, had become a battlefield of hidden intentions. And in the middle of it all, Sarah, small and determined, was ready to face whatever came next to keep Armin safe. Because now, the danger was not just near, it was moving closer. And the next close call could decide everything. The mansion felt heavier that morning, as if the air itself carried the weight of secrets. Armin sat in his study, flipping through emails and documents, but his mind was elsewhere. Every glance at Nadia reminded him of the small, brave girl who had saved him, and of the betrayal that lurked behind perfect smiles. Sarah had been quietly collecting evidence, and today she decided it was time for the truth to be revealed. Sarah approached Armin, holding a folder tightly in her hands. Her small frame seemed calm, but inside, her heart raced. "Sir," she said softly, "I have gathered everything. You need to see this. It will explain everything about Nadia's plans." Armin looked up, curiosity mixed with fear in his eyes. "Show me," he whispered. "I need to know the truth." Sarah opened the folder, revealing photographs, hidden messages, receipts, and notes that painted a clear picture. Each piece of evidence was a thread, and together they wove a story of betrayal. Armin leaned closer, scanning the documents, his eyes widening with every detail. The photographs showed secret meetings Nadia had with people Armin had never met. The notes revealed instructions she had given to manipulate situations in her favor. The receipts exposed purchases and payments for things Armin never approved. And the hidden messages? They showed deceit, planning, and danger, all carefully disguised behind the mask of her perfect smile. Armin's hands shook as he processed the evidence. I can't believe it," he said, his voice tight. She wanted to harm me?" Sarah nodded quietly. "Yes, sir. She tried once already with the wine at the party. But she didn't succeed because I saw it. Now you see everything clearly. You must be careful, and you must not trust her alone." Armin felt a mix of shock, betrayal, and anger. He had trusted Nadia completely, believed in her love, and now the truth hit him like a storm. "All this time, I never noticed. I thought she loved me." Sarah placed a gentle hand on his arm. "Sometimes, people hide behind smiles and words, sir. The ones who love you do not plan your harm. The ones who do, they hide it well. But you don't have to face it alone anymore." Armin took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. "What should I do? How do I stop her?" Sarah looked determined. "First, you must face the truth. Confront her with the evidence. Do not argue or yell. Let her see that you know. And second, be ready. She will try to defend herself, deny everything, and manipulate again. You must stay calm and strong." That evening, Armin invited Nadia to the study, the folder with evidence placed carefully on the desk between them. Nadia entered, radiant as ever, her smile hiding the storm inside. "Armin, what's this?" she asked, her voice sweet but guarded. Armin gestured to the folder. "Nadia, I need you to explain this." Sarah watched silently from the corner of the room. Her eyes were sharp, alert, ready to intervene if Nadia tried anything dangerous. Nadia's smile flickered for a moment as she saw the documents, then returned to perfection. I don't know what this is." "You must be mistaken," she said smoothly. Armin's voice grew firmer. "I'm not mistaken. I saw everything, Nadia. The messages, the meetings, the plans. I know you tried to harm me at the party. Do you have any explanation?" For the first time, Nadia's mask cracked. A flicker of anger, fear, and frustration crossed her face. She tried to speak, but the words were hesitant, unsure. Sarah could see the truth in that brief moment. The woman was cornered. You can't prove anything," Nadia said finally, trying to regain control. "You have no right." Sarah stepped forward calmly. "Sir, I have everything. Proof of every secret plan, every lie. It's all here." Armin leaned back, taking it in. His mind was racing, but the clarity was liberating. "So, all this time, you pretended. All the smiles, the promises, it was a lie." Nadia's eyes burned with anger now. How dare you? This is unfair." Armin stood, his own anger rising but controlled. "No, Nadia. The unfair part was trusting someone who planned my harm. I can forgive many things, but I will not be a victim." Sarah watched as the confrontation unfolded, her heart steady. She had feared this moment, yes, but she had also known it had to come. Armin needed to see the truth with his own eyes. And now he had. The room was tense, filled with emotions unspoken and long-held secrets finally exposed. Nadia's attempts to manipulate, to hide, to charm, had failed. And Armin, guided by Sarah's courage and honesty, could finally face reality. "I trusted you," Armin said quietly, his voice firm but tinged with pain. "And I was wrong. But I won't be fooled again." Nadia's face flushed, her smile gone, replaced by something dark and bitter. You think you've won?" she hissed. Armin shook his head slowly. "No, Nadia. This is not about winning. It's about truth. And the truth is clear. You cannot harm me or manipulate me any longer." Sarah stepped back, letting Armin handle the confrontation, but her eyes remained sharp, ready for anything. She had guided him to this moment, and she would continue to protect him until the danger passed completely. Nadia left the study abruptly, slamming the door behind her. The mansion felt quieter now, the storm within it passing, leaving a calm that was almost strange. Armin sank into his chair, relief mixing with exhaustion. Sarah approached him gently. "Sir, it's done. You know the truth. You are safe now, at least for the moment. But we must stay alert." Armin looked at her, gratitude and awe in his eyes. "Sarah, I don't know how to thank you. You saved me again, and now you've shown me what I should have seen all along." Sarah smiled faintly. "Just be safe, sir. That's all that matters." For the first time in days, Armin felt a weight lift from his shoulders. The danger had been revealed, the lies exposed, and the betrayal understood. Thanks to Sarah, he could finally plan his next steps with clarity. But even as relief settled in, a small part of him remained wary. Nadia had been clever, and she was not defeated yet. Sarah knew this too. The battle was not over. The truth had been revealed, yes, but the next challenge would test them both even more. And Sarah, small and determined, was ready for it. The mansion was alive with whispers that evening, though the grand chandeliers sparkled as if nothing was wrong. Word of the confrontation had begun to spread, even among the staff and a few close acquaintances. Nadia was furious, and her anger burned quietly, like a storm waiting to erupt. Sarah moved through the halls, alert, knowing that the danger had shifted from secret plans to open confrontation. Armin sat in the study, reviewing documents, but his mind was far from the papers. He thought of Nadia, her betrayal, and how close he had come to being harmed. He also thought of Sarah, the small, brave girl who had risked everything to save him, not once, but multiple times. He trusted her implicitly now, more than anyone else in his life. The moment came that evening when Nadia tried to strike directly at Sarah. She had arranged a meeting with some influential guests and staff, claiming that Sarah had misbehaved during the past few days. Her voice was sweet, but the threat behind it was clear. "I don't know how she earned this position," Nadia whispered to one of the guests, "but she has caused problems in the house. I think she should be removed immediately." Sarah overheard the words and felt a chill. This was no longer subtle. Nadia was attacking openly, trying to ruin Sarah's reputation and credibility. But Sarah did not flinch. She had faced danger before, and she would not step back now. When the confrontation moved to the grand hall, guests gathered, curious and uneasy. Nadia approached Armin, her smile perfect, but her eyes sharp. "Armin," she said smoothly, "I think you should reconsider who you trust. Some people are not what they seem." Armin's jaw tightened. He had seen the evidence. He had felt the danger. Now he was ready to face her publicly, to show the truth to everyone. "Nadia," he said clearly, his voice calm but firm, "I know everything. Every secret message, every plan, every lie. You cannot hide behind your smiles anymore." Gasps filled the hall. Guests whispered to each other, eyes shifting between the couple. Some people looked shocked, unable to believe the confrontation. Others sensed the tension, feeling the undercurrent of truth and danger. Nadia's face changed, a flicker of anger and fear crossing her carefully crafted mask. You can't say that here," she hissed, trying to regain control of the crowd. Armin held up the folder of evidence Sarah had collected. "Everything is here. Proof of your betrayal. Everyone can see it. You tried to harm me, manipulate me, and deceive me. But it ends tonight." Sarah stepped forward, her eyes sharp, unwavering. "I warned him once. I am not asking anyone to trust me blindly. But the proof is here. Look carefully, and you will see the truth." The hall fell silent as Armin laid the documents on a table and opened them. Guests leaned in, curious. The photographs, the receipts, the secret messages, they spoke louder than any words could. Nadia's plan, carefully hidden behind her beauty and charm, was now exposed in full. Nadia tried to speak, to explain, to manipulate the story in her favor, but the evidence was undeniable. You don't understand," she shouted, her voice cracking under the pressure. "It's not what it seems." Armin shook his head slowly. "It is exactly what it seems, Nadia. I trusted you, and you betrayed me. That is the truth. And now, everyone can see it." The guests looked from Armin to Nadia, astonished. Some whispered quietly, others openly discussed the scandal unfolding before them. Nadia's carefully constructed reputation was crumbling, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. Sarah watched, her heart steady but alert. She had feared this moment, yes, but she had also known it had to come. The small, brave girl from the streets had guided Armin to this confrontation, and now she would stand by him as he faced the betrayal head-on. Nadia, realizing that she had lost control, turned her anger toward Sarah. "This is your fault," she hissed. "If you hadn't interfered, none of this would have happened. Do you think you are clever? You are nothing." Sarah did not flinch. She stood tall, looking Nadia directly in the eyes. "I did not cause anything, Nadia. I only revealed the truth. And the truth cannot be hidden behind lies or wealth or beauty. Not anymore." The confrontation reached its peak as Armin finally spoke words that echoed through the hall. "Nadia, your actions are over. You will no longer manipulate, deceive, or harm anyone here. You are leaving, and this ends now." Nadia's face twisted with rage. She tried to argue, but the evidence was too strong, the witnesses too aware. She realized that her power over the situation had vanished. The mansion, once her stage for manipulation, was now a place where the truth ruled. Armin turned to Sarah, gratitude and awe in his eyes. "You saved me again," he said quietly. "I don't know how I could have faced this without you." Sarah smiled faintly, her voice calm. "You trusted the truth, sir. That was all I asked. Now we just need to ensure it stays that way." The guests began to leave, murmuring about the dramatic confrontation they had witnessed. Nadia was escorted from the mansion, her perfect smile gone, replaced by frustration and defeat. The storm had passed, leaving a sense of relief and justice in its wake. Sarah and Armin stood together, quiet for a moment. The danger had been revealed and confronted, but Sarah knew that vigilance was still necessary. Nadia might have lost this battle, but she was clever and determined. The mansion, the luxury, and the sparkling lights now felt safer,
but only because Sarah's courage and intelligence had illuminated the truth.
Armin looked at Sarah, his voice filled with sincerity.
I owe you everything.
You protected me, guided me, and revealed the truth when I could not see it myself.
Sarah shook her head gently.
I only did what was right, sir.
That is all anyone can do.
For the first time in days, Armin felt a sense of peace. The confrontation had cleared the air, the danger had been exposed, and the betrayal had been addressed publicly. And Sarah, small but fearless, had stood firm through it all. But even as relief settled in, both of them knew one thing: the world was full of people like Nadia, and the path ahead required caution. The confrontation was won, but the lesson remained clear: truth and courage, even from the smallest of people, could change everything.
Sarah had proven that one brave girl could stand against deceit, protect the innocent, and ensure that justice was served.
And Armin had learned that sometimes, the people you least expect are the ones who will save you from the greatest dangers. The mansion was quiet the next morning, a calm that felt almost unreal after the storm of the past few days. Guests had gone, whispers had faded, and the halls that once held tension now felt lighter.
Nadia was gone, escorted out by security, her plans shattered and her influence ended.
The air seemed to breathe relief, and for the first time, Armin felt he could truly relax. Sarah moved quietly through the mansion, performing her usual duties, but she no longer felt invisible. The small, poor girl who had once served unnoticed was now recognized, appreciated, and trusted.
Every glance from Armin held gratitude, and every small action she took carried weight.
She had risked everything to save him, and now her courage had changed the course of his life. Armin found her in the dining hall, carefully arranging some documents on a table. His expression was calm, but his eyes held warmth and respect. "Sarah," he said, his voice steady, "I want to thank you properly. Not just for saving me at the party, but for guiding me through everything after that.
I don't know where I would be without you."
Sarah looked up, her cheeks slightly flushed from the praise. "Sir, I only did what was right. You deserved to know the truth, and I could not let you be harmed.
That is all."
Armin smiled faintly, though his eyes carried emotion.
"It is more than that, Sarah. You risked everything for me.
Most people would not even speak up, but you acted with courage and honesty.
You have my trust completely."
Sarah felt a small swell of pride, but she remained humble.
"I am glad you are safe, sir. That is what matters most."
The mansion now felt like a place of hope rather than tension. The staff moved freely, no longer whispering in fear or uncertainty. Guests who returned were surprised at the calm and order, unaware of the battles that had been fought and won behind closed doors. Armin walked with Sarah through the main hall, observing the chandeliers, the polished floors, and the elegant furniture. Everything sparkled, yet it no longer felt like a stage for deceit. Now it felt like a home, a place where truth and courage had triumphed. "Do you know," Armin said quietly, "I never realized how much I depended on appearances. I thought that wealth, status, and beauty were enough to protect me.
But I was wrong. Real protection comes from honesty, courage, and those who care enough to act. Like you." Sarah's eyes softened.
"Sir, you have always had the power to change things around you. You only needed to see the truth clearly.
I just helped you find it."
Armin stopped and looked directly at her.
"You did more than help me, Sarah.
You saved me from betrayal, from danger, and from being blind to the truth.
I owe you more than I can say."
The two walked to the garden, where the morning sun painted everything in gold. Flowers bloomed peacefully, birds sang, and the world seemed simple again.
Armin and Sarah stood side by side, a silence between them that was comfortable and honest.
Sarah finally spoke, her voice calm but thoughtful.
"Sir, what will you do now? Nadia is gone, and the danger seems over."
"But life will continue, and there will always be challenges." Armin nodded, his gaze on the horizon. "I will move forward carefully, but with clarity.
And I will not forget the lessons I learned through this.
Most importantly, I will never underestimate someone who acts with courage, regardless of their position in life." Sarah smiled faintly, the kind of smile that carried quiet strength.
"Sir, that is wise.
And you will be safe if you continue to trust the truth and those who are honest.
As the days passed, Armin began to take control of his life in new ways.
He addressed the mansion staff personally, ensuring they felt valued and heard. He strengthened relationships built on honesty, and he remained alert to those who might try to manipulate him in the future. But now, he did so with confidence rather than fear.
Sarah's life also changed.
No longer just a server, she became a respected figure in the mansion, recognized not for her wealth or status, but for her courage, honesty, and intelligence. She had proven that even the smallest, poorest person could make a difference when guided by integrity and bravery.
One afternoon, Armin called Sarah to his study. "Sarah," he said, "I want you to know that your efforts will never be forgotten. You changed my life. You saved me, guided me, and helped me see the truth. I want to ensure you are recognized and appreciated properly."
Sarah shook her head softly.
"Sir, I only did what anyone should do. That is enough for me."
But Armin smiled warmly.
"It is not enough for me. You deserve more, Sarah. You have proven that courage and honesty can triumph over deceit and betrayal. That is a lesson I will carry forever."
The mansion, once a place of glittering appearances and hidden dangers, had become a home built on truth, respect, and courage. Armin had learned to value the people around him not for their beauty or wealth, but for their integrity and bravery. And Sarah had shown that one small, determined person could change everything. As the sun set, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Armin and Sarah stood together in the garden, a quiet peace surrounding them. The danger was gone, the betrayal exposed, and the truth had prevailed. For Armin, it was a new beginning, a life guided by wisdom, honesty, and genuine trust. For Sarah, it was recognition and respect for the courage she had shown. Together, they had faced danger, revealed betrayal, and emerged stronger, reminding everyone that bravery, honesty, and integrity are more powerful than wealth, beauty, or deceit. And as the stars began to shine in the night sky, both Armin and Sarah knew that the mansion, once a stage for hidden schemes, had now become a home where truth and courage would always be honored.